Welcome to this Football Manager 2018 experiment where we're going to find out if Australia can win the World Cup with Messi and Ronaldo. I've already done an experiment with Tunisia and Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately, both nations failed to win the World Cup with Messi and Ronaldo, although Tunisia did manage to finish fourth, which was a pretty good achievement, I think. Ronaldo overall has probably been the better performer, especially for Tunisia. I don't think Messi has quite fitted the systems in place by Saudi Arabia and Australia. Both nations have played him in attack in midfield mainly rather than on the right hand side or up front, whereas Ronaldo has been utilised as a striker predominantly, meaning he has scored a lot more goals. But perhaps with Australia we'll see a different tactic used by the Australian manager that utilises Messi and Ronaldo and gets the best out of both of them, and hopefully in turn allows Australia to get out their group and go on to World Cup glory. As you can see, I've changed Messi's nationality from Argentinian to Australian, just like on the two previous experiments, and I've reset the caps and goals, and the same for Ronaldo. And just like before, I will put together an Excel spreadsheet of the results, and we're going to have two parts to this little series. Part 1 today, we'll do the first 5 simulations. Part 2, we'll do 5 more simulations. So looking at the Australian team then, with the in-game editor installed, we can see the current ability and potential ability of the players. There is some quality in this Australian team. I think overall they are stronger outfits than Tunisia and Saudi Arabia, so I'm hoping they can go far. I think they have potential to get out their group. With Tunisia, they had to get past Belgium and England. Australia, obviously it is a tough group with France, one of the favourites, and the favourites according to Football Manager, according to all those simulations that I did. But Denmark and Peru are also very strong teams. We've seen them both go on and win the World Cup in my simulations that I've done, and we haven't seen it with Australia. But I think there's potential for them to finish second in the group, and with Messi and Ronaldo, you never know, they might fire them to the top of the group. They do have some decent players. They've got decent goalkeepers, Aaron Moy, Rogic of course, Lecky. There's some good players in there, and I'm hoping they decide to use a tactic with, so Messi's playing right wing according to this, so well, right midfield, but hopefully he'll get forwards a lot. Rogic is playing behind Ronaldo. They can push Messi a bit further forward into that inside forward role, then I think that would be brilliant. But at the moment they're playing him right midfield going into the friendlies, but hopefully he'll go a bit more advanced during the World Cup. Wow, what a start to this simulation with a shock winner in Egypt, beating Belgium in the final. Wish it was Australia, but unfortunately it is Egypt. But that is quite remarkable. Salah firing Egypt to World Cup glory in this first Australian simulation. Now Australian players featuring here, which perhaps doesn't bode well, but let's go and have a look then to see how they got on in Group C. They finished third. They did get 2 draws, but they just weren't quite strong enough. Denmark 1 point ahead of them, thanks to loads of draws in this group. In fact, only France managed to win games, but Australia ended up drawing 2-2 against Peru, bottom place Peru, and 1-1 against Denmark. They lost 1-0 against France. Really unlucky, because if they'd managed to get a draw against France, they'd have gone through on goals scored by the looks of it. So that's very unfortunate for Australia. Let's see the tactics they are playing. So Messi's moved into attacking midfield, and he actually is injured, so perhaps he didn't feature in the whole tournament. And this was a problem we saw with the other two. I kind of feel like on Football Manager, the top players do get injuries, especially when you manage them. I once took control of Barcelona, I think it was probably like FM18, and I literally gave up after a week because Messi, Iniesta, I think Neymar at the time was there, he got injured, Xavi was still there. They all got injured, and I thought, well, there's no point playing this safe. I was just wanting to have a bit of fun with Barcelona, and they all got injured within a week of taking charge, so I just stopped. Whether maybe I'm creating some sort of stupid conspiracy theory there, but the top players do seem to get injured, I think, more than others. Anyway, let's have a look to see how the players got on individually. So in the pre-World Cup warm-ups, they did take on Portugal and beat them 2-1. Ronaldo scored against Portugal twice, and Italy also, they managed to score 2 goals, Ronaldo and Messi with the goals, but they did lose 3-2. So they opened the World Cup with a 1-1 draw against Denmark thanks to a Messi equaliser in the second half. They then lost 1-0 against France, and in the crucial game that could have put them through, Ronaldo saved a point for them, to be fair. They came from 2 goals down. He scored a penalty and he scored an equaliser in the 80th minute, but they just couldn't quite get over the line, and Messi got injured, which was a real blow for them, of course. Another underdog has managed to win the World Cup. Croatia thrashed France in the final 4-1. Amazing achievement by them. But let's go and have a look at how Australia got on. So France obviously reached the final from their group, and Australia finished bottom this time around. Only 1 point. They drew 1-1 against Denmark, and they lost against Peru and France 2-1. So very close. They're not getting it completely mullered, which is good. I didn't expect Australia to do that anyway, because they will put up a strong tactic and play quite defensively, I would imagine. This time, Messi played up front. Where's Ronaldo? Oh, Ronaldo's on the left. Oh, so they've swapped him. That's interesting. So the Australia manager is trying something a little bit different to what we've seen with Saudi Arabia and Tunisia. He's deployed Ronaldo up front in the first simulation, Messi up front in the second. This might have only been for the last match, to be fair, but either way, it didn't really work. Ronaldo did get a goal against Denmark to salvage a draw. Then Messi scored against France, but it wasn't good enough. It was a 95th minute consolation. And against Peru, Lecky got the goal. So only 1 point. So far, we haven't seen them qualify. Another unusual finalist, with Russia reaching the final, but they were easily disposed of by Spain 3-0. But they've done very well to get through to that final. But the big question, have Australia finally qualified? They have. They went through with 6 points in second place behind France. It does mean they have to take on Argentina in the second round, which we'll go through to now. How did they get on? They did it. They beat Argentina after extra time to go through to the World Cup quarterfinals. That is amazing. We had 2 red cards in this game. Jedinak, the captain, was sent off. Messi, man of the match, with a goal and an assist. Ronaldo scored as well, a penalty, of course, in the 92nd minute. This is really, what a game. I mean, it was 1-1 after 90 minutes. Ronaldo opened the scoring early on in extra time. Dybala equalised, but then James Holland in the 123rd minute sent them through. And I'm actually going to show, I've not shown any goals in these Messi Ronaldo experiments, but this is a 123rd minute goal to send Australia through to the World Cup quarterfinals. Let's have a look at it. I want to see if it was a Messi assist, actually. It may well have been, because he did pick up an assist in this game. It was a free kick given to Australia right at the end of the game, and I assume Messi went over to take it. Let's have a look. So strange seeing Messi and Ronaldo in yellow, isn't it? Messi crossed it in, and yes, it was a Messi assist with a great delivery, and Holland with a fantastic header to send Australia through to the World Cup quarterfinals. So let's see what happened at the quarterfinal stage then. They lost 1-0 to Russia. Oh, that was the chance. No disrespect to Russia, but that's the quarterfinal tie that they wanted. Out of all of those teams, you'd want Russia, wouldn't you? And they went and lost. They bottled it in the quarterfinals. McGowan sent off on the 56th minute. That really didn't help. Ronaldo played up front in this one. They've had a lot of joy of Messi up front by the looks of it, but they decided to go with Ronaldo up front, and it just didn't work. Messi in central midfield. They changed the tactics for this, didn't they? For taking on Russia. I wonder why. They played this. They played a 4-5-1 essentially with Messi in central midfield. Why? Russia were there for the taking. Surely they could have beaten Russia if they'd just gone with a more attacking tactic. But no, they didn't. But let's have a look at things in a bit more detail. In the first game, Kroos with the goal and an own goal from Sisto, the Danish player, gifted them the 3 points. Against France, they were easily murdered 3-0 by Dembele, Kante and Lacazette. But Messi fired Australia to glory against Peru. Messi's getting on much better in the Australian team compared to Tunisia. That's quite clear. And his 2 goals gave them the 3 points to send them through to the second round, where, of course, we saw Messi and Ronaldo score, helping them get through to that quarterfinal against Russia, which was just so disappointing. But at least we've seen a bit of progress from Australia. Fourth simulation, France defeated Argentina without Messi, of course, 3-2 in the final. Marcel, 2 goals to a player that isn't even at the World Cup in real life, winning the World Cup for France. But have Australia managed to get out the group once again for the second time in a row? They have. 4 points this time, but it was enough to finish ahead of Peru on goal difference. We're getting some success here. They managed to beat Denmark 3-0, draw against Peru. That's it. That's great stuff. Great stuff to get through. So in the second round, they were defeated this time by Argentina. That just weren't quite strong enough this time around. And Argentina, of course, went on to the final. Higuain with 2 goals, but Messi did score against his real country. This is fascinating, isn't it? A 44th minute goal to equalise. But then he got injured in the 68th minute. And he was playing up front. Ronaldo on the left hand side of midfield. They played a 4-5-1. And once again, they failed with it. interesting stuff this. Messi is definitely playing better with Australia, isn't he? And Ronaldo's not as prolific. I guess it's because he's not the main man up front, to be honest. A lot of the time he has played up front, but not in every single game. Tactically, this is what they played in that last match. But let's have a look in detail. So against Denmark, Messi did get a goal. Ronaldo got injured, in fact. And I think, he missed the France game where they lost 1-0. And then against Peru, he still wasn't around. Messi didn't play particularly well, but Aaron Moy managed to get the draw for Australia and send them through to the second round, where Ronaldo was back, but he was partially injured. Messi scored, but then got injured. So it was an injury hit campaign for both of the players, and that really was detrimental to them, I think, in getting past Argentina in the end. And we end today's part 1 with a fifth simulation where France thrashed Belgium 4-0 in the final of the World Cup. So we still haven't seen Australia reach the final. I mean, I guess we're unlikely to, but with Messi and Ronaldo, you just think that X factor that both those players have, they might be able to drag a nation like Australia through. And they did finish top this time around, ahead of France. And strangely enough, Argentina didn't qualify, meaning they had to take on Croatia in the second round. They'd have probably preferred Nigeria, to be honest, but they're having to take on Croatia in the second round. What a brilliant performance from Australia to finish top of the group, scoring 9 goals, conceding 4. We'll have a look at things in a bit more detail in a second. But in the second round, they just couldn't get past Croatia. Penalties. It went down to penalties. France had the easier task of taking on Nigeria because they finished second. And that's just so bad. So much bad luck for Australia there, I think. Really unlucky. And I suppose they were fortunate to actually get into extra time because Cruz scored a 91st minute equaliser, but in the penalty shootout, Leckie missed. Ronaldo and Messi both scored from the spot. They did their bit, but it wasn't quite good enough. Ronaldo played up front this time around, and they played a different tactic once again. This time they played the first tactic that we saw at the start of this video. Messi playing in attacking midfield just behind Ronaldo. Did okay, didn't get any assists or goals. Couple key passes, but Ronaldo with a crucial goal. But in the end, it wasn't enough, was it? So let's have a look to see at their individual games and how they got on. So they absolutely destroyed Denmark in the first game, 4-0. What a performance. And strangely enough, we didn't see Ronaldo or Messi score, but Ronaldo did miss a penalty, which is incredibly rare. I assume that's a penalty miss. Let's just check. Yeah, 90. So it could have been 5-0. Ronaldo had a great game, 2 assists. We've only seen him make 1 assist so far in this experiment, but 2 in 1 game here. So lots of great teamwork from him in this match. Messi played well, but no goal or assist. Against France, Ronaldo scored twice. He's a big game player, and he scored a 96th minute winner from the penalty spot. That is fantastic. And Messi picked up an assist in this game. He played up front. Ronaldo played on the left wing, left midfield actually, in a 4-5-1, and he actually scored 2 goals from that position this time around. And amazing, a 96th minute penalty to send basically Australia through to the next round after 2 wins from 2. But they rounded it off with a 2-2 draw against Peru. Ronaldo had a really good goal scoring tournament this time around. Actually, this is easily his best tournament so far in terms of goals. And yeah, not a bad result at all to send Australia through to the second round. Unfortunately, Croatia were too much for them, but Ronaldo scored again, so he ended up with 4 goals at this tournament. So at the end of today's part 1 of the experiment, we've seen Australia progress 3 times. This is really good hit rate actually compared to Tunisia and Saudi Arabia. And they finished 3rd and 4th as well in the group. But they've reached the quarterfinals, only to be knocked out by Russia, which is a bit of an anticlimax, really. Ronaldo actually has more goals than Messi, despite the fact that I think overall Messi has been better. But Ronaldo's excellent 5th simulation, where he scored 4 goals and got 2 assists, has really boosted his stats there. And so Messi has 1 less goal, 1 more assist. It's very equal between the two. They're both contributing equally to this. And I think that's important. With Tunisia, they did very well, but Ronaldo really contributed the most. Messi he couldn't fit into that tactic for whatever reason and had some bad simulations in the end. And I think that was kind of detrimental. If he'd been able to turn it on, they could have gone all the way, I think, with Tunisia. But this is looking promising. I know statistically it doesn't look as impressive individually, but they're really contributing to the team and getting the best out of the whole squad rather than just Messi and Ronaldo getting all the goals and assists but still getting knocked out. So yeah, they've done well. So I hope you're looking forward to part 2, where I'm going to do 5 more simulations. Hopefully they can improve, or at least continue to get out the group. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. But until next time, enjoy FM18, enjoy the World Cup. I'll see you very soon.